Good evening, all the CAHO members and the participants. On behalf of CAHO, I welcome the NIMANS faculty, Dr. Rajendra, Professor of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, and he's a well-known person. I know him from the Ballari days, WIMS onwards. He was my student in undergraduate level, MBBS, and I'm very happy. I'm very proud, and it is my privilege to, start the seminar on child and adolescent psychiatry. And I thankful to all the NIMANS faculty for giving me an opportunity for the CAHO to conduct this type of program. I also welcome Dr. Madan, who is the moderator for today's session, who is the senior resident in the Department of Psychiatry. Welcome to both Dr. Rajendran and Dr. Madan.
Thank you,
over
sir.
to Dr. Madan.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So, as sir told, I'm Dr. Madan, so I'll be moderating this session. So, I'm introducing the speaker for today. So, I'm honored to introduce our Dr. Rajendra K M, sir, who currently serves as an associate professor in the Department of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry at NIMHANS, Bengaluru. Dr. Rajendra holds an MBBS degree from Vijayanagara Institute of Medical Science from Karnataka. He has a diploma in psychological medicine and MD in psychiatry from NIMHANS. And he has a super specialization degree, which is DM in child and adolescent psychiatry from NIMHANS, Bengaluru. Dr. Rajendra has an instrumental in various research projects, including the Samvad Initiative and various other school-based mental health programs. He has an extensive publication records with numerous papers in peer-reviewed journals. So, without a further ado, I hand over the session to you, sir.
Thank you. I thank at the outset the CAHO team and my guru from UG days, Ravi sir, and the dignitaries. And I thank Madan for the introduction. So, good evening, all. We are here to understand about child mental health in a very broad sense and in a very depth sense in a very brief session. So, I have tried my best to make it not so content driven, more so theme driven, and I will try to highlight why child and adolescent mental health is important, and as a mental health professional, what do we do in our clinic. So to start with, what is psychiatry? We may have many definitions, but one simple definition is, psychiatry means biology, psychology, and sociology. So psychiatry means knowing yourself better and knowing the opposite person sitting with you is better. Help him to get better based on your knowledge. So psychiatry means knowing yourself and knowing the opposite person to the best and help him or assist him. The same is child psychiatry, that you know the child's strengths, the child support needs, the family strengths, the family support needs, and you intervene. So to address the child and adolescent mental health, how does one become a professional? He needs to master all the developmental milestones of each child from 0 to 21 and how the experiences mold his brain. So he should know psychology, sociology, and biology. How three are connected every year in the child developmental life. Over and above that, once one understands completely a developmental perspective, he should also know about the disorders. So currently, what is the need? The need is very huge. Just I will give an example of a primary health care center in an Indian scenario. You take 30,000 population per PSC. In that, 40% are children. Means we are talking about 12,000 population. 12,000 population also need inputs about development and parenting. So in each PSC, 12,000 children need information and their parents need information about overall development and well-being. Second part, how many will have disorder in this 12,000 in that given PSC? It's 10 to 15%. It's 1,500 to 2,000 children need more understanding, more support from their parents, from the school, from the systems. So per PSC, 2,000 children. How many are we reaching now? Maybe 0.5%, 1%, 2%. Still 98% gap remains. So this is the amount of need available. So it's in the numbers. Coming to the change that is happening in the society. Society is driven by 4 words: globalization, capitalism, consumerism, and technology. All these 4 are driving and shaping our society and our community and ourselves. These have brought in such a huge changes that even adults ourselves can't adapt, and we even take our mobiles to bathrooms. Then how we expect child not to do that? So the society is changing, the family structure is changing, the identity is changing. So all these are happening because of 4: globalization, consumerism, capitalism, and technology. So that adds on to the stress. Coming to the competition in the school, it is at the heights because of all the 4 we discussed. Coming to the family, it has become nuclear or subnuclear or sub-subnuclear. You can use better words. So you can imagine the society is changing. It is becoming less adaptive and less supportive, but more competitive. And these young minds need to grow in this society, changing society. That is the second part. Third part, WHO has already identified that suicide as the 3rd main cause for death among adolescents. Substance use and violence have become major important issues. So important is sexual health. So you can imagine the vastness of understanding that we need about child mental health, about child development, and parenting needs. So what do we do as a child professionals? As I said, we understand child from developmental perspective. We understand that perspective from sociological views, psychological views, and biological views. And we identify and help the parents to work and understand the child needs and make the life better for the child. What we do, I will try to explain in each and every slide that we go through. So coming to child development, it is not a single entity. It is not like a white and black clouds. In this slide, if you can closely observe, there are 2 black clouds and 1 white cloud. For human being, it is very easy to say yes or no, good or bad, white or black, but the world lies in between, gray. In the same way, development is not one. Mental health development happens in 7 domains. You can make a note. At the birth, we cry, our parents laugh. The birth we cry is an emotion for hunger. So it is emotional development driven by limbic system, where your emotions drive your basic needs. Next, child doesn't know to smile. At 3 months, child smiles, seeing the mother smiling to him or her. So we learned smile from our parents. If we learned smile, we learned anger, we learned fear. So the social template decides what my brain will learn. If I can learn and speak English today, it is because I have been exposed. If I have been in Japan, I would have speaking with you in Japanese. So that is the social template that the brain gets. The frontal lobe is interested in social interests, social aspects, exploration. Limbic system, whatever good, it stores. So One is emotional development. Second is social development. So society is a very complex structure. We evolve with age to adapt to all the social norms and needs. So society is a frontal lobe template. Limbic system is a reward system driven by emotions. These two act each other complementarily to store all the information in the brain for the child. The language is given to us by the environment. As I discussed, speech and language development will happen until 11 years. Next, we have cognitive development. With age, we learn to become more and more abstract. Initially, we understand concrete concepts. Later, in a stage of 7 to 11, we reach a semi-abstract or a semi-logic state, or we know facts. Beyond 11, we know abstracts. We can hypothesize or we can deduce from the hypothesis. So this is a cognitive development. Again, it is given by social and emotional experiences. So 4 we discussed: emotion, social development, speech and language, cognition. Next, we have moral development, sexual development. Lastly, we have motor development. So each child develops in 7 domains. So each need to master so many things. Imagine all these mastery reaches the peak in adolescence. Imagine their challenges, where their limbic system is getting more mature earlier than their frontal lobe, because of which we all have done small mistakes during our adolescence. Whatever we remember, our adolescence is the most important life period of our memories, because we were very emotional at that time. Because we were emotional, we got good guidance. We are here where we are. So you can imagine that each one of us are made of collective of experiences in these all 7 domains. So when you see a child, the child develops in 7 domains, and each domain has stages in early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescent. And one can master all these by reading and interacting with children. Second, what is this slide showing you about? So our brain is a collection of memories. When the couple marry, it is a memory. When there is a childbirth, it is a memory. What we give experience to the child is what we write on the book of his brain. At the end, each one of us before death have our own stories. The episodes, if you want to make it 4 episodes: childhood, adulthood, and geriatric age. If you want to make sub episodes: in childhood, early, middle, adolescence; in adulthood, early adulthood, mid adulthood, late adulthood; in geriatric, is the last stage. And we are collection of our experiences in the form of memory, which make us to understand ourselves by some meaning, and to understand our world by the same meaning that we understand ourselves. So it's memory box. When you see a child, you can understand what kind of experiences this boy has got. What are the difficulties? So you can guide how he can write the next episode of life based on his strengths than the weaknesses. Usually, as I said, we see differences, we see weaknesses, we don't see the strengths. So we judge, we label, we criticize, we rank. All these experiences are negative, and they can lead to a negative experience chapter in the children's life, especially for those children who are prone to have certain mental health disorders that I will allude to in the coming slides. So in this third slide, I want to highlight that there is a brain, there is a frontal lobe, there is a limbic system. Frontal lobe gives us the templates. limbic system stores those templates in these 7 domains. So cognition is stored in temporal lobe, occipital lobe, parietal lobe, and gets everything processed in frontal lobe. Speech and language predominantly stored in temporal lobe gets utilized through frontal lobe. When it comes to maths, it is located in parietal lobe, gets communicated through frontal lobe. As I said, all these are memories. 2 parts becomes important for the child well-being. Those 2 are, if I ask anyone when I do a class, people tell what is important. Is it emotional health? Is it intelligence? Is it social development? Most of them tell it is intelligence which is important. That is not true. Out of 100, only 3% are above average intelligence. 3% will be below average, rest are in between. So intelligence is not the important thing for well-being in the human life or for the child. As I said, the mastery again falls into social and emotional realm. If you want to talk biologically, it is your frontal lobe and limbic system. So how they can coordinate to understand oneself and the complex situations, to put it into concrete words, understanding emotions and managing them, having a good emotional regulation is very important. So as the child grows, you need to master emotional control, emotional understanding, and emotional well-being. In the same way, what does the frontal lobe need to learn? Frontal lobe need to learn 2 things. That it has a limits. As I am a father, I have a role. As a child, I have a role. As an adolescent, I have a role. So the child, as he grows, he should know the limits. What he can ask, what he can't ask, what he can see, what he can't see. So frontal lobe should know the limits. Second part is that inside the limit, it can apply its creativity, its problem-solving ability, its ability to, what you can say, make decisions. So the frontal lobe to learn 2 things. 1, to understand the limits. Inside the limits, how this frontal lobe can be so creative, so critical, so problem-solving approach, and make good decisions. So social and emotional development becomes such an important part of child development. In this picture, I am trying to say that we don't see these parts, and parents need to see these parts. As in prism that I depict, I will explain what is parenting, little more elaborate in the next slide. So here you can see that there are 3 principles that a parent brain should interact with the child brain. First principle is love, an unconditional love. I love you, the mother and father, the child, irrespective of the problem, irrespective of the emotional state. Child believes that is worth loving. Child feel that he need to take care of himself. So love or warmth is the first principle. Second principle is putting the limits. 5 year, what he should play, what he should not play. 5 to 10 year, he has 3 hours. How we want to utilize for his play and studies, the limit is given by you. In adolescents, where he can go, where he can't go, limits are put by you. So second principle is limits. Third principle is freedom inside the limits. So 5th to 10th years, 3 hours, which subject he wants to study first, which subject he don't want to study first, he will decide. You will tell you need to eat vegetables. Which vegetable, when, that choice will be made by the boy. So you can imagine these 3 principles: warmth, limits, and freedom inside the limit make parenting four types. Four types of parenting. One is permissive, means you give lot of love, you put no limits, and you give lot of freedom. Anger becomes predominant emotion in these children. They don't learn to regulate emotions because there are no limits. They become very, very impulsive, wrongly making decisions, create havoc under and surrounding with the people because they can't regulate themselves or they can't decide well. That is the permissive parenting, which is becoming very, very rampant in this technological world because everyone has only one or two child, and if the child cries, they will cry. They are expected to make the master to overcome that sadness, not to cry themselves or become fearful. But very, very unfortunate to see all parents becomes fearful and yield to the demands. Second part, previous generation, authoritative or authoritarian, means full of limits, no freedom, fear becomes a dominant emotion. This person do well function well, but he is little inhibited. He needs support to make social decisions, so he is not working to his fullest potential. That is authoritarian parenting. Third is neglectful, no love, no limit, full freedom. This person grow as a confused soul. He doesn't know what is love, what is limit, what is control. He keeps fluctuating all his life in these problems. Last, very important, where all three are balanced, is authoritative, where they have warmth, they love themselves, they have limits, they know their roles and limits. They are having a good ability to make choice given the role, and they can lead a happy life. So in a PHC, you can understand those 2000 parents need this training during antenatal period, during postnatal period, during their child develops. By this, we can make and possible that the happiness is possible. Satisfaction is possible in each and every child's life. But to reach this goal, it is a, what you can say, a task which has so many challenges. But yes, if we have like minds, if we can come together, we can take advantage of spiritual experiences of India, cultural richness, and use technology and reach to all households. So this is about parenting, and each child needs different kind of parenting based on his nature. Coming to the disorders. So as I said, each child is unique. Each child episodes are unique. Each child's experiences are unique. Each child's memories are unique, and they are writing their own autobiography. Who are we to spoil those? By bad experience or by a severe stressful experience. But if you give an optimal stressful experience, they can write a better story of themselves. So now I am trying to come to the disorder in specific. So in child, when you want to see the brain from the biological perspective, there are three kinds of disorders. As I said, in 2000 children in PHC, 1500 to 2000 children have a mental health condition which needs more attention, more knowledge, more support, so that they can write their autobiographical book in a very strong manner, because the first episode in life, that is childhood, becomes the basement story based on which they write next three chapters. And psychology says that what happens in these 18 years, they will repeat in all the chapters of their life. Can you imagine? So coming to the disorders, we have three kinds of disorders. One is developmental disorders. What is expected to learn? That person is outside the normal bell curve and he needs more support. I have given one example there. It's about maths. Many of people who take medicine never like maths because that doesn't come to them because their parietal lobe has less connections because of reasons unknown. Because of that, they have fear in maths, they have less ability in maths, so they avoid maths. If the same disorder happens for the language, it is called a specific learning disorder. If the same difficulty happens for intelligence, it is called as intellectual disability. If the same difficulty happens for social interaction, it is called as autism. So developmental disorders are a set of disorders where child learns slowly in one domain or all domain. Based on the slowness, this child needs care and support and understanding. But what usually happens when they see the disorder, either we are empathetic, we do overdo things for them. Once we overdo and we don't get the result, we become very burnt out and we let them leave. They don't need both of the phases. They need optimal understanding, optimal support throughout their life. They can focus on their strength and write the stories. Imagine Einstein, Thomas Alva Edison, because of their brain and their creativity without the language. We are seeing the light today, which is artificial, and the technology has moved because of Einstein theories. But they had developmental disorders. But who took care of them? Their parents and their environment. They never allowed them to have a negative experience. They stood by them and believed in them and promoted their positive experiential learning. And they became scientists who can change the world. So developmental disorder is not a difficulty. If you look from the other perspective, it is a strength. But it takes very, very large and very huge perspective. At least we can recognize, support, don't put negative experience, because this experience, for an example, a child doesn't know to read and write well, but he is intelligent. The same Thomas Alva Edison lives in the school. The school will tell you are stupid, you are of no use, you don't know to write ABCD, you don't know to write spellings. If his memories are collected over years like this, his self-esteem will be low. He will feel worth. When he wants to launch himself to adulthood, when there is a stressful life situation, he will succumb because his strength in him, his belief in him is weak because of such a prolonged negative experiences. Imagine in 100 children, 10 have this, and unknowingly they are exposed to such a negative experiences, which is making to believe themselves as not worthy. So this is set of developmental disorders. Next depiction, what I am trying to show is behavioral disorders. Means in 100 children, 5 children have difficulty in their frontal lobe to attend to or to concentrate or to control their body, called as ADHD. They are anger prone. The disorders are called as oppositional defiant disorder or conduct disorder. So they have anger regulation difficulty, attention concentration difficulty, and increased activity. The same persons who had ADHD are the only people in the world who have won the highest medals in the Olympic in swimming and running. You please know whom I am referring to. It's Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt. People didn't say their energy levels are bad. They are very inattentive in school. They took treatment for ADHD. Their energy was channelized in a focused manner in athletics. So it is that experience that got through the treatment, understood their weaknesses, and they turned into the strengths. They are here making the history and making the world. But when we see them, how many of we know that they had ADHD, that they have taken treatment for? And that is also a secret of their success, that having ADHD. So as I said, the context defines the strength or the weakness. As a child psychiatrist, we understand what are the weaknesses, how to train this child to master his inattention, his planning difficulties, his hyperactivity, at the same time to use it as a strength. Basically, parents are blind because they don't have knowledge. The society is blind, they don't have knowledge. Because of lack of knowledge, they end up doing three things: judging, labeling, discriminating. All three give negative experiences completely ingrained as these children grow into adolescence. The same Usain Bolt, the same Michael Phillips, if those experiences were not given and they were made to peddle the drugs, or they were made to understand that no one loves them because they are so hyperactive, they are so troublesome. Only thing is they should go and then leave out of the house in the poor gang activities. Then they would have ended there. So many of these kids who have less regulation, less planning, if parents are not liking them, they start controlling them by coercion. Child needs love, not control. But parent doesn't know. They keep controlling them. As they control, the child thinks that these people want me or they want to control me. This is called as coercion cycle. During adolescence, these adolescents start controlling them in the same way as the parents control. So if they come at adolescent, can you imagine how much reverse work one should do with all the collected experience in the brains of their parents and in the child? Earlier we detect, earlier we can help them to write a better story, as at the individual level, as at the family level, and child can learn his own better story by understanding his needs, his weaknesses, and his strengths. So last depiction is of a sheep. Sheep, I am trying to depict fear or sadness. 5% of children or of us are more prone to become anxious, to become fearful, or to become sad. That is, we are prone. As frontal lobe is less active and reticular activating system is very active in ADHD, in 5% of people, autonomic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system is overactive. This leads to anxiety and mood disorders. Separation is a stress. It can lead to separation anxiety disorder. Facing society is a stress. It can lead to social anxiety disorder. Anxiety can be in all domains: family, health, finance, my academics, my looks, generalized anxiety disorder. Lastly, sadness. I am not worth because I am not loved or I am not good enough in my studies. So depression happens because of two reasons. One is relational problems, one is achievement problems. If we can make children understand that these two are very temporary, your life is temporary, in that these two are very temporary, you need to take it sportively and move on. So this fearful anxiety disorder go unrecognized and they will not be given so much importance to master those fears. As they reach adulthood, as the stressor become more and more, as the role expands, they will succumb to anxiety and depressive disorders. So to conclude again, there are three kinds of disorders: developmental disorders, speech and language disorder, learning disorder. In learning disorder, reading, writing, maths, autism, intellectual disability. Then there is behavioral disorders where they have ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder. Then we have last category called as emotional disorder, where the fear and sadness is the predominant thing. And this can be circumscribed to few situations, or this fear can be generalized. And sadness can come because of relational issues or achievement issues. And one can see oneself in a very negative life, negative light, negative thoughts, and one may think of killing themselves or dying by suicide That is the third most common cause in the adolescents currently. Last disorder, which is beyond this session's scope, is trauma-related disorder, emotional abuse-related disorder, discrimination-related disorder. This is part of all these three disorders. They all three categories face this, but trauma itself is a very vast topic to understand and to inculcate, that is trauma-related disorders. So as I said, we do assessment by developmental perspective. We understand the biases, the miscommunication patterns, the judgments, and we do it over maybe 3 to 7 sessions, because we are not understanding fever by checking temperature. We are understanding a child's brain which is developing in the context of home environment. We take at least 7 sessions to understand the child and the family. Next, what we do the treatment. We know all this, but we can't tell everything which is written in the book to the child and parents. We use one term called as proximal zone. Means what next immediate step this child can learn, what next immediate step this family can learn, what next immediate step this school can change. We try to give this part of education about the proximal zone after clarifying their myths, misconceptions, and also making them aware of development and strengths of child. All three work towards that common proximal zone goal. We handhold them for 3 months, next 3 months, next 3 months. After 9 months, they are experts. They know everything better than what a clinician knows. They launch themselves with less support, maybe once in 6 months. So this is what the treatment is. Yes, we do use medications at the cost where it is very highly needed for the benefit of the child and the parents. As you know, any parent doesn't agree with this, but once you spend that time, that understanding, and you are putting your efforts to make things better for the child and family, they trust you. When you tell the treatment, they do take. We start as experimental basis, they benefit out of it, they become better. So with this, I complete my presentation. I think I have taken 40 to 45 minutes, and I leave the session for open discussions and asking doubts. So to conclude again, child mental health is needed for everyone. At least 2,000 children in a given PSC. The information should start from antenatal period to the natal period, going towards youthhood. That will make a child develop more satisfied and happy and have a better well-being. Second part, out of this 12,000, 2,000 children need help, more understanding, more support, more care. 3 kinds of disorder: developmental disorder, behavioral disorder, emotional disorder. Each one identified early, supported early, their memories, their experiences can be made better, and their life, they can be empowered to write better episodes during adulthood and adolescence. So as we need to learn more and more and more about children and more to do with every child, and we should only see positivity in every child, and we should help them to learn and then establish and grow to the best of their ability. I think that is very joyous to do this. And as I said, to give breadth and depth of child psychiatry, it is very difficult in one session. I have tried to do the best in the given time. Any errors, I apologize. I am very happy to take the session's questions from each one of you.
Thank you, sir. It was a very informative session. So here I'll take the questions from the chat box. Pooja Singh, madam, you have asked can you please unmute yourself, or like your question is very broad aspect, are there any strategies to prevent mental illness? That is her question, sir.
Yes, there are many strategies. Starting with, you identify hypothyroidism early at birth, you will stop disability for life. You will identify phenylketonuria at birth, you will prevent disability and give rebirth, re-life to those two disorders at birth. Like that, you identify their biological predispositions for anger, for fear, for developmental issues, you can prevent. Definitely it is possible.
So question from Noorunisa Abdul Ghafoor, and one more question on similar questions. I'll read the questions Mahadevan Pillai, sir. The question goes like, how gadgets affect child mental health and how to manage the issues related to gadget addiction in teens.
Very good question.
Sir,
I will answer this.
Yes.
So gadgets has not affected children. Gadgets has affected us also. We are not married to wife or children. We are married to our mobile. Why that mobile is such a good and important thing? It acts with our reward brain system. Our brain feels happy when we go to temple or when we go to nature, because we see many patterns and many different aspects. In mobile, you can find all the patterns, everything change in every second. That will hook your limbic system and overside the frontal lobe. And this hooking has been planned by capitalism, consumerism to do the business. Imagine the tool itself has biological value, which will affect your reward system. Imagine that a society is planning how to use this. It is the most dangerous part if we see only the bad part. Yes, we can use for many good things, to schedule our day, to plan our life, to schedule our reminders. So each family should have a technology management plan. There is American guidelines for screen exposure. There is Indian pediatrics guidelines. As a family, we should make a plan. And as an adult, we should model them how to use the technology the best and how best we can control. Once we have a plan and we as an adult follow it and model, children will definitely learn it. Yes, there is a huge bad aspect to the technology because it has been driven by all this consumer and capitalism to control your brain. But you can use that for the good by making a plan and working on those plans by yourself so that your children can model them. I want you to see website series called as Social Dilemma. Anyone you see with this internet problem, mobile problem, ask them to do Social Dilemma website series. Ask them to come and discuss with you. Guide them to make a plan to manage the technology for the best of their ability to promote their strength. I think you can also do a counseling at first stage.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So on similar lines, Mahadevan sir has asked how to make children focus on study, avoiding distractions like mobile and smart TV.
Yes, as I said, one, environment control, what time it should be on, how much time it should be half, should be modeled by adults, followed by children. Second, as they reach adolescence, they need to give such control and we need to appreciate that control when they are following it. Third part is that you can scold someone. You can motivate someone. You can persuade someone, but you can inspire someone. Inspire means you tell that boy that I know for sure you have this ability. That inspires him to make plan to learn that. You tell him to study versus you tell him to become a scientist versus you tell him to become an artist or versus you will tell him to become a teacher. You tell the goals of teacher, musician, scientist, you are inspiring him because you are identifying his ability and promoting it. You are telling you study, you study, you study. You are just trying to remind him. So we can motivate, we can persuade, we can inspire. All three are important than just reminders.
Thank you, sir. Manika Chandra Tiwari has asked a question, like he wants to know some information on puberty behavior in children.
As I said, sudden surge of hypothalamic hormones, where your body is changing in a fast pace, the same way your brain, and you need to master so many things, including sex, including managing your biological urges. This is the most challenging period, needs more information, more support, more guidance. Two parents should think 1 hour to make the child's brain better in a collective manner. Then they can do it.
Sir, Everin Luke is working for an NGO and they have a visit to school camps where they go. So he's asking, she's asking that are there any tool or questionnaire which can be used to assess the mental health of students?
The moment we tell mental health, everyone will tell we are okay. So we should not open the mental health as an opening topic. We should open it as a physical health and well-being. Once we do 1 or 2 sessions of physical and health and well-being, then there are questionnaires where you can ask stress and well-being. That stress scales will give next level of insight of those who need support. The stress is more acceptable word than the mental health. So use physical well-being scale, use physical measurements, just assess the stress, the stress will give you the way to all the mental health issues so that they can help. I will be happy to assist them. I can share my email ID and get in touch with them to give whatever the knowledge I have to share with them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Jyoti Puri Kapoor has asked, nowadays diverse cases are increasing. How and which level it affects children's?
So 90% when they go to judge, the judge puts a limit that you do a plan of shared custody. If not, I will give the custody to one parent. So 95 families with all those problems, if the judge is very strong, the solution will happen to some extent. But it will have its own repercussions on negative mental health that needs more additional care than of a routine typical child. But 5% families, it is hell. Both mother and father are intelligent. They are blinded by their egos. They are blinded by their fight. They forget the child. They expose the child to so much of lack of trust, paranoia, aggression, fights that will have very, very negative impact on those 5% of children. I think the society is getting up in that direction also, and forensic child mental health is taking shape. Maybe within 5-10 years, we will be in a right place to protect those children as well.
Yes, sir. Sir, Shiba Benu is asking how to react when a child has a self-harming tendency during anger.
Correct. 3 things. First, acknowledge their emotional state. Second thing, help them to relax. Third, ensure the safety. Fourth, with all these 3, refer to a mental health professional. Your job is done. Tell the parents that this is solvable problem. It may take few weeks to few months. Keep every safety aspect possible activated until you meet a mental health professional. They will guide you further about this safety. Educate that medications are safe. They will help the mood and sadness to get better. Once they come out of sadness, they can solve the problem which they think are not solvable because of depressed state of mind.
Thank you, sir. So we have come to the end of the session. Like I request anybody else to please unmute yourself or ask put up your questions in the chat box. Manika Chandra Tiwari, I think sir has already answered the question, how to make child focus on their studies.
So focus is different ages, different approaches, make the study interesting, make how you can make what aspects can motivate the child, put in rewards. If he's an adolescent, you take inspiring approach than reminding and motivating approach.
Thank you, sir. So we have come to the end of the session. Any more further questions? Okay. Yes, sir. Probably the last question of the session. How the child has to overcome failures?
So there is no success or failure in life. Both are part of life. So what we need to tell child is be satisfied with your efforts. Outcome doesn't matter. If you teach this, he will learn from every failure. You don't call him failure. I will tell you 2 words. Respect efforts, appreciate achievement. If you respect your child efforts, he will never bother about your failures. If you respect achievement, it becomes a problem.
Dr. Madan, one more question is there. Children are influenced more by their friends. How do parents deal with it?
See, in adolescence, it's like honeymoon period. Like when a couple marry, 1 year, they feel, oh, life has taken a new step. Life is everything, colorful. Like that, in adolescence, the brain thinks that friends are everything. It starts from 14, ends at 21. So for them, what friends say is like a saint giving boon. So you need to make them understand what this adolescence, what this peer pressure, in that there are positives, in that there are negatives. And each friendship has self-interest in it. And if you make a bad friend, it can affect your identity. So the friends making choices, how to make friends, how to handle the pressure, how to say no, all these becomes important. So it takes 1 session for me to take peer pressure and handling. But this is a concept of peer pressure during adolescence that is completely biologically driven. The charged particle can connect to another charged particle. Their emotional brain is very charged. So they speak their language, bro, boy, girl. So we can't speak that language. They speak it because their limbic system is so active. So other limbic system is also active, so they connect to it very well. So you need to make them understand why it is not so everything is good, not everything is white. There is black and gray. You need to understand this concept in a little more elaborate manner, learn to deal with pressure, make better friendship, make better choices. In a friendship, there are 5 qualities: equality, trust, respect, doing good together, accepting other friendships and not feeling jealous. Even adults, we can't follow by these 5 principles. Again, repeat again: respect, trust, learning good with each other, respecting other friendships, and trust. So as an adult, it is difficult. For adolescents, they don't know these principles. So we can teach these principles, they can make better choices.
So thank you very much, Dr. Rajendran, for a wonderful lecture and very informative for all the people and even the parents and other adolescent children and childhood age. And some of them are asking your email ID and phone number for them to clarify certain things. I think through Kaho, we will share your these things so that you can clarify through the email or by phone.
Yes, sir.
And once again, thank Dr. Rajendran and Dr. Madan for a wonderful session today. And in future also, NIMANS can give opportunity for us to take us more and more sessions in this type of sessions and topics and other things. So once again, on behalf of the KAHO and KAHO family, I thank Dr. Rajendran for a lucid presentation and a wonderful talk over the child and adolescent psychiatry. And also
Thank
I
you
thank
for the
Dr.
team.
Madan for
Thank you for
moderating.
all the participants, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for all the participants for participating and also asking a very interesting question, which will be helpful to all the other people. Thank you very much. Once again, I thank on behalf of KAHO to NIMANS family and NIMANS faculty. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.